Stephen Robert Sutton, MBE, was an English blogger and charity activist known for his blog Stephen's Story and his fundraising efforts for the Teenage Cancer Trust charity for the aid of teenagers with cancer. As of September 16, 2014, Sutton had raised over £4.96 million from over 340,000 donors, more than 4 times his target. Early life: Sutton was born on December 16, 1994, and attended primary and secondary school in his hometown of Brentwood, Staffordshire. During his youth, Sutton was a very active child, participating in sports and athletics, particularly long-distance running and football. Sutton received straight A grades from Chase Terrace Technology College in August 2012, and had interviews at Cambridge University to study medicine, as well as universities in Leicester and Leeds. He later withdrew his applications before getting a verdict, after his cancer was determined to be incurable. Illness and activism. Sutton was diagnosed with stage 3B colorectal cancer at the age of 15, and subsequently went through aggressive radiation and chemotherapy treatments. In December 2012, 2 years after the initial diagnosis, the cancer was deemed incurable after spreading to the lungs and liver. Following a lung collapse on April 22, 2014, Sutton was put on life support but in a stable condition. After his diagnosis, Sutton began participating in charity events with the Teenage Cancer Trust, and later started his own website and blog in January 2013. At the same time, he began fundraising with the Teenage Cancer Trust, with an initial goal of £10,000. Following unexpected support, the goal was raised to £100,000 and £500,000 the same year, before being raised to £1 million in March 2014 and went over the £4 million mark by the end of May 2014. During his fundraising campaign, Sutton was supported by several celebrities, most notably Jimmy Carr, Jonathan Ross and Jason Manford. Manford donated £10,000 and gave all the turnover from his own comedy clubs for the entire month of May to the charity. Following Sutton's hospitalization in April 2014, Manford became the unofficial spokesperson for the charity, appearing in interviews promoting the cause. He also launched the campaign Thumbs Up for Stephen, asking people to share selfies of themselves promoting the campaign. Sutton's goal of £1 million was reached on April 23, 2014, and on May 2, 2014, he was discharged from the hospital following an improvement in his condition. Later that same day he also met with Prime Minister David Cameron, who voiced his support for the campaign. On May 4, 2014, Sutton helped break the Guinness World Record for the most number of people making heart-shaped hand gestures, with 554 people at Chase Terrace Technology College. In September 2014, £2.9 million of the £4.96 million raised was invested in specialist cancer units for young people at 7 British hospitals. A further £1.2 million was put towards 50 care scholarships at Coventry University, and £700,000 invested in improving cancer awareness information and helping patients attend the charity's annual weekend conference. Documentary. In April 2013, Sutton met Kevin Spacey's filmmaker-in-residence Grzegorz Richters while rehearsing as part of the drama group for the opening ceremony of the 2013 UEFA Champions League final. They quickly became friends. Richters and his team began following him around for several months, filming Sutton at home with his family and at several fundraisers. In the summer of 2013, Sutton went on vacation with his best friends. Richters equipped him with several GoPro cameras. The documentary is currently in development and will be made into a feature-length film in 2015. Richters said, only 2 days before Stephen passed, we talked about his legacy. He wanted to make sure that we remember him as the positive person he was and not as a cancer sufferer. Besides making the documentary for Sutton, Richters and his team were tasked to rebrand his Facebook page /Stephen's Story and have been managing most of his media and back-end. UEFA Champions League Final Opening Ceremony 2013. The opening ceremony of the 2013 UEFA Champions League Final at Wembley Stadium, titled The Battle of Kings, was directed by Kevin Spacey's executive assistant and Prince's Trust ambassador Hamish Jenkinson and his business partner Johnny Grant, who had previously directed the opening ceremony at the same venue for the 2011 final. It was produced by Films United and directed and produced by Grigorij Richters and his producing partner Alex Saubnai. Both were the former filmmakers in residence of Kevin Spacey and Jenkinson at the Old Vic Theatre in London. The film focused around the story of Sutton, who was part of the group of performers. Ceremonies manager Julian Pateau spoke about Sutton after his death. "I met with Stephen a year ago at Wembley. I couldn't believe how committed he was to following his dream, being part of the 400 drummers we had last year for the opening ceremony. I remember on the eve of the ceremony, his knee was hurting him so bad that he couldn't walk without crutches. He was watching the dress rehearsal from the stands with a constant smile on his face and told me, 'Don't worry Julian, tomorrow I'll be there whatever it takes.' Indeed, he took a double dose of painkillers and performed with all his passion for our ceremony. Stephen inspired me. I'm so proud to have met you and to have been even just a small part of your story." Death and reaction. Sutton died in his sleep at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Birmingham in the early hours of May 14, 2014, of colorectal cancer, aged 19. By the time of his death, he had raised over £3 million for the Teenage Cancer Trust. Cameron praised Sutton for his spirit and bravery, while Ed Miliband said Sutton was an inspiration. Comedians Ricky Gervais and John Bishop, presenter Claire Balding and singer Carol Decker also offered their condolences. Jason Manford said, "Stephen Sutton was the most inspiring person I've ever met and touched more lives than he will ever know. He was an incredibly positive young man and a credit to his family, to Burntwood and to humanity itself. The reason we took to him so passionately was because he was better than us. He did something that none of us would even imagine doing. In his darkest hour he selflessly dedicated his final moments to raising millions of pounds for teenagers with cancer. Some of Stephen's words will stay with me and others forever, and they are words to live by. Life isn't measured in time, it's measured in achievements." On May 21 it was announced that a public vigil would be held at Lichfield Cathedral on May 29 before a private family funeral the following day. Music. The Neon Brotherhood recorded a single titled Hope Ain't a Bad Thing as a fundraiser for Teenage Cancer Trust in memory of Sutton. Jane Sutton announced the release of the single on June 2 and within 24 hours the song reached number 2 on UK iTunes charts. It has peaked in the official UK charts at number 16. After working with Stephen, local community organisation Gig Characters will hold a concert in memory of him in Dudley, featuring West End stars Kyron Brown, Sabrina Alowesh and Katie Bernstein, accompanied by a professional orchestra and choir made up of members from And Sound Company and Brierley Hill Musical Theatre Company. Awards and honours. Sutton was appointed Member of the Order of the British Empire in the 2014 Birthday Honours for services to Teenage Cancer Trust charity. The award was dated May 14. His mother, Jane, said that though Stephen continually told all of us that he didn't do charity work for recognition, even he acknowledged that to be appointed a Member of the Order of the British Empire was awesome. On October 7, 2014, Sutton was recognised at the Pride of Britain Awards with the award for special recognition. It was presented to his family by Jason Manford and Roger Daltrey. References. External links: Stephen's story on Facebook, Stephen's fundraising page on JustGiving, obituary in The Independent by Marcus Williamson.